Today, I want to talk about how Gary Gensler will soon resign and how illegal short selling will finally stop. I also want to talk about how Evergrande is having a massive impact on China. So stay tuned and let's make some money. And now I'll dive straight in with the key information. So, this article says the SEC chairman Gary Gensler may resign if Trump wins in the 2024 US election. Now, I don't want to turn this video into a political video of Democrats versus Republicans, but I want to explain what I'm seeing with Gary Gensler and how Trump practically hates both Gary and Ken Griffin. So let's remember that Trump previously called out Ken Griffin for hiding his money overseas.
Ken Griffin, Citadel, what a guy he is. Where are you, Ken? Where the hell is he? He's trying to hide some of his money. Look, he doesn't want to stand up. Where the hell is Ken? See, Steve, you'll stand, and he's very quiet about it. He's in here someplace. He just doesn't want to stand.
So Trump obviously knows there's something fishy going on with Ken Griffin trying to hide his money and trying to do a lot of things in secret. Ken Griffin seemingly feels the same way towards Trump, as Ken Griffin is openly supporting those against Trump like Nikki Haley. You can see here the Citadel CEO and billionaire Ken Griffin just donated $5 million to the Nikki Haley super PAC. So you can see here both Trump and Nikki Haley are Republican presidential candidates. Now again, I'm not here in this video to decide who's going to win between Trump and Haley or who's going to win between Republicans and Democrats. I'm just saying Ken Griffin is clearly supporting Nikki Haley and not Donald Trump. Why is that? Because Trump doesn't like Ken Griffin. Ken Griffin doesn't want Trump to become president because if Trump is president, he likely won't be allowing Ken Griffin's crimes to fly under the radar. And that's why, as a result, the SEC chairman Gary Gensler may also resign if Trump does win. It says here the customary practice in the United States following a change in administration is for the SEC chairman to step down, paving the way for the appointment of someone aligned with the presidential's political allegiance, in this case, a Republican. They may say, well, Tom, surely if Gary Gensler steps down, then Hester Peirce will be made chair of the SEC, because Hester Peirce is Republican, just like Trump. But again, I don't think that'll be the case because Hester Peirce is for short selling or pro short selling and against additional short selling disclosure, which again, Donald Trump doesn't support. Donald Trump is clearly very anti-short selling and pro-short selling disclosure, the opposite of Hester Peirce, because Donald Trump doesn't like Ken Griffin. So as again, this isn't a political video where I'm telling you to vote Trump or vote Republican or vote Democrat or don't vote Trump or do vote Trump. I'm just saying that if Trump does win, then Gary Gensler may have to resign. But let's also talk about what's currently going on in China and how Evergrande is having a massive impact on China. You can see here the Cabesi letter tweeted saying, breaking news, nearly 30% of all stocks in China have been halted as China's stock market index slides 8% in a matter of hours. So far in the last month, the entire Chinese stock market is down 27.28%. And this is even with the Chinese regulators cracking down on short selling and proposing to inject tons of capital into the economy. And as Gavin tweeted, China has once again pledged to stabilise its stock market, saying it will guide even more medium and long-term funds into the market and crack down on illegal activities, including malicious short selling. And now China is even targeting margin loans, aka issuing margin calls and targeting short selling further. Also guys, today we took YTEN in the Millionaire Mindset Trading Group for a cool 50% gains. You can see I alerted the entire Discord group in the pre-market when I was buying YTEN and my theory behind it. That purchase was here before YTN ran 50%. You'll see I actually said that I'm going to buy some more YTEN here, and that's because I took a trade earlier in the day on this initial run up as well. Many in the group locked in some smaller 5 or 10% gains, and it goes to show that even on days where we don't have a stock that runs 100, 200 or 300%, that the Millionaire Mindset Trading Group is still making money. So guys, be sure to join the Millionaire Mindset Trading Group using the link in the description below, and remember the 100% guaranteed refund policy. It says China's securities regulator said on Monday that it would tighten scrutiny of margin financing, malicious short selling, and seek to ward off risks involving pledging of shares. It says the watchdog's vow to stabilise the market comes amid growing concerns that slumping share prices could trigger more selling in a vicious spiral. And they've even calculated that forced selling, aka margin calls, totaled roughly 900 million yuan or $125 million in January alone. And the CSRC vowed zero tolerance against ill-intended short sellers, saying those who dare flaunt the law will lose their shirts and rot in jail. Now again, that does sound very, very severe, but that's exactly the attitude the Chinese regulators need against illegal short sellers. And it should be the same kind of attitude US regulators have in the US as well. So it seems even though China has vowed to inject tons of capital into the economy and has banned short selling, Evergrande is still having a massive, massive impact. All of these margin calls that are going around is causing a significant sell-off in the Chinese market, which is leading to a fire sale, which is making matters worse. And now Hang Loose has also tweeted about how FINRA is lying and knows exactly how many shares exist in all companies. He said FINRA is lying. They can easily find out how many shares exist because every broker sends out monthly statements to all of their clients regarding each person's portfolio. So clearly brokers know at all times the total amount of shares they hold of each company, and obviously each broker reports data to FINRA every day. And that's how FINRA have supposedly insisted the short interest was less than 2% of MMTLP. And how they had a specific share count of how many shares were held at TradeStation and exactly how many shares were shorted at the time of delisting or at the time of the U3 halt. But how FINRA effectively ignores how many shares are shorted and how many shares exist as soon as they're moved offshore. So Kristen tweeted this video of John Berta explaining how FINRA makes short positions disappear. John Berta said they called me back a couple of days later and said FINRA told us that 2 million shares that were short moved offshore and therefore they're out of the US purview, so they don't count them as short anymore. He said, well, that's the most insane thing I've ever heard in his entire life. Why would FINRA not treat these short positions as short positions anymore just because they've gone overseas? FINRA say every single share is always accounted for, but also say they don't account for shares that move overseas. John Berta also received this letter directly from FINRA that says FINRA cannot perform a certified, audited and consolidated count of shares. It says FINRA's regulatory authority does not extend to domestic or foreign non-member entities that could act as custodians or agents holding securities for others, including foreign registered broker-dealers. Saying furthermore, the regulatory tools available to FINRA does not provide the data that would enable FINRA to perform a share count. But yet, FINRA say that every single share is always accounted for, and FINRA also receives daily reports from every single brokerage of exactly how many shares are being held. So surely FINRA could easily perform a certified, audited and consolidated count of the shares. They're just choosing not to. And they're also choosing to ignore when shares go overseas, even if they're shorted. And that's why the Congressman Ralph Norman now wants a public hearing into the MMTLP halt and to hear if FINRA stops counting shares sold short once they're moved offshore. And now Ralph Norman plans to subpoena the MMTLP trading records that FINRA and the SEC are withholding. I personally would love to see these records subpoenaed and finally revealed by FINRA and the SEC. And if and when they are revealed for MMTLP, the exact same thing should be done for AMC as well. Finally, IC Assistants also pointed out that even though AMC stock is falling, don't forget other stocks like GameStop are also falling alongside. So even though many shills consistently blame Adam Aron for the drop in the AMC stock price, is Adam Aron also to blame for the drop in the GameStop stock price? Or is it more likely that shorts are just manipulating both companies and aren't being punished for doing so? So guys, be sure to let me know what you think down in the comments below. And as always guys, be sure to ding that notification bell, because that way you'll be alerted when I upload a new video. Cheers.